I'm a winner, not a loser, overcomer. I am more than a conqueror. I'm a winner, not a loser, overcomer. Hey, I am more than a conqueror. I swear it, I swear it, I swear that weapon formed against me. I swear it. I'm a winner.
Let's talk ability. To the let's talk ability.
Mama Tiko.
Yes, Joshua.
Do you know what today we are talking about?
Tell us.
We're talking about employment for persons with disability.
Employment is a huge issue for persons with disability. What are we going to say?
We are going to look at the number of people being employed, both at the formal and then the informal sector.
Okay.
And we also look at the number of people who are not employed, who have resulted at the streets and begging.
Mr. Alex, can you join us to talk about employment, unemployment, and disability?
And Mr. Alex is the president of the Center for Employment of the Persons with Disability.
Mr. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Please have a seat. Joshua has been telling me a little about you. We are very grateful for your making the time to join us today on the Let's Talk Ability Show.
Thank you so much for the
Can
opportunity.
you tell us what you do?
Yeah, I'm the president for the Center for Employment of Persons with Disabilities. And we facilitate employment and create employment avenues for disabled people.
Okay. So, how many jobs have you created?
Yeah, so far we've created about, or we supported about 500 people to get some form of employment. Yeah, and we've trained over 1,000 people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get employment for disabled people in this country, and that is why we continue to do a lot of advocacy for. Yeah.
I see. So with the people you've trained and the people you've helped them to get the job, how do you discover them?
Yes, thank you very much. Some of them are from the organization, already existing organizations. We have Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled.
Okay.
We have Ghana National Association of the Deaf. Then we have Ghana Blind Union. We have Persons with Albinism Association. And others are called the walk-ins. They just walk in into the office. They don't belong to any association.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is how we get people. People hear about us. And interestingly, this is a private employment organization. We don't charge for the work that we do. We don't charge for the service.
The center runs it?
Yes,
okay.
The center runs it. It's not a government institution.
Okay.
It's a private
So are you
NGO.
a CSO or an NGO?
Yeah,
okay.
Sort of. I'm an NGO.
Okay.
Yeah, and...
How did you start this center?
Yes, this center, actually I got scholarship to study in the UK.
Okay,
and I have
to study what?
Yeah, to study advocacy.
All right.
And doing campaign. So I was attached to an organization in the UK.
Okay.
And I was assigned, my first assignment was to lobby for the independent living bill in the UK. So I worked with the UK Parliament to get that bill through. It was not easy, yeah, but that was my assignment, and I learned from that. And I also worked with Reemploy. There's an organization in the UK called Reemploy.
Okay.
And they support disabled people in the UK. So getting that experience when I came back to Ghana. By then I used to be the director for the Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled. I used to be their director. During my tenure of office, I established the chalk factory
chalk.
Yeah, chalk factory for persons with disabilities at the rehab center.
Okay.
Wow.
I did a lot of things with the telcos. We came out with a tricycle, having a mobile credit on it, where they move into the traffic, and people can then buy some credit onto their phones.
Are they still doing it?
No, it's but that is the motto. The motto is to make persons with disabilities economically empowered.
Yes.
Using their assistive device to support them to
Technology.
generate to generate income
incomes, yeah.
for themselves. Yeah, we've also trained people through the Youth Employment Agency. Trained people into the oil and gas industry. You know, persons with disabilities have skills. They have qualifications.
We're
Some
talking about that.
have a first degree, some have their masters. Yeah, but it's difficult because, you know, the stigma with disability is clear, and sometimes at the interview, you appear there and they don't look at your qualification, they don't look at your skills. Your disability comes
In front.
in front.
That is most unfortunate.
Exactly. So that's the challenge, and that is why particularly I'm grateful for this program.
Okay.
I'm so happy, and I congratulate you for coming up with this program.
Okay.
Let's talk ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Tetteh, from the way you're speaking, seems it wasn't easy doing things. What are some of the challenges you encountered?
It was not easy, Joshua. You said it right. It was not easy. It was not easy even going to companies to lobby for employment places for disabled people.
And that's what you had to do personally.
Yes, it was not easy.
You have to lobby
Yes,
for persons
you
with
have to
disability
lobby.
to be employed.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So when you go there, they tell you, are you sure they can work? The other challenge is also, are you sure our office is accessible for them?
Yeah.
We don't want them to come and create problem for us. So we don't want them tomorrow, they will say they are reporting us to the media and all that. So that is the challenge. Our environment is not accessible. And I mean, their equipment, their computers don't have the software for the blind. They don't
You must have
it.
specific software for the laptops and computers for persons who are visually impaired or persons who have hearing impairment.
Yes.
Okay.
And for hearing impairment, you need a sign language interpreter.
Okay.
Or the office staff need to be trained to have basic skills in sign language.
Don't we all have the right to employment?
Yes.
What does the Act say?
Yes.
The Disability Act. What does it say?
Thank you. We have a right to employment, but that right it's defined. Okay. Because if you are facing government, you could say that I have a right to employment. So if government is giving employment, you have the right to demand such employment once you qualify within the space. But for a private person, the private person decides who he employs.
Okay.
Because he wants to look at his business and who can maximize his profits. So you can't push a private person to employ A or B unless you put in some incentives. And the incentives will motivate
For the employer.
the private employer. The incentive will motivate him to employ. The Act 715 of 2006 makes provision that any employer that employs persons with disabilities, that employer will be given a tax rebate.
Okay. Is that being enforced currently?
No, because
Why not?
yeah, because you know the law needs an ally.
Okay.
The ally becomes like the working document for the law.
Since 1956, Ghana has become independent. And then since 2006, we've had the Disability Act. Why do we still have to lobby people to employ persons with disability? And what is taking so long? Why is the LI taking so long to come into being?
Thank you. For the LI, Actually, I don't blame government, because I think that the disability movement have also played a part in not allowing the airline to be in existence by now. Because I remember that the ministry or government was ready to push for the airline. But the movement said that the current law was not up to speed.
The Disability Act.
Yes, the Disability Act was not up to speed with the UN Convention. So they wanted to expand it. To
merge the two.
And merge the two and expand it to have certain provisions so that they can inculcate the things that are in the convention that are not in our law. So government then have to wait for us to have an amended act. So that is where we are now. Now we're pushing for the passage of an amended act. Because the current
of the 2006 Act 715.
Yes, the Act 715.
You have a copy here.
This is what I have here.
Yeah.
And this act didn't make provision for women with disabilities, children with disabilities, persons with disabilities in the situation of emergency situation, how they will be evacuated and all that. It didn't make provision for them. And these things are very key.
As the former Minister of Gender, we were able to start the review of the Disability Act so that we can incorporate the gaps that are not found in it, the gaps with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability and the National Disability Act, so that we can see how we can bring the Ghana Disability Act to speed in line with the UN Convention of Persons with Disability, and then to ensure that the things that are not in it are put in it.
Thank you.
But, Mr. Tetteh,
hello.
From all that you've been saying, you've been talking about a private sector. Does it mean government is not doing enough to help with the employment of persons with disability?
Yes, I would say that government is not doing enough. Government is not doing enough. Government, because, I mean, government have the resources, it has the capacity, it has the authority, it has the power to do. So government is not doing enough. I should
How
think
can you make
that
government do enough?
Yes, I should think that by now we should have a national policy on employment of persons with disabilities. Because employment is a huge thing.
Very huge.
I mean, when you have employment, you can assess your rights. If you are slapped and you need to go to the police station, you need money to take a taxi. Even currently, if you go to police station, they tell you, if you have money in your pocket, you can say, oh, make me have a taxi near call. You understand? So, so income and money in your pocket is key. Government is the major employer.
That's
so if the ministries, I mean, they are employing people, government is giving financial clearance. And government don't say that within this financial clearance that I've given, 10% should be given to persons with disabilities. It will not happen. But if government says it and say, okay, this sector and that sector, we need people in this sector. We
like
as
did with
players,
the tools.
Exactly. We as players will then say that we have 20 of 100 people in accounting, 25 people in marketing, this in auditing, that in banking. And then we've put up our people for interview. If they pass, they are employed.
Okay.
Yes. So government is not doing enough. Even though government is doing well with the 3% of the common fund, which is giving huge form of employment. And in your statistic, about 80% of the 7% of persons with disabilities who have some form of employment are in the informal sector. This 80% came about as a result of the common fund. And I congratulate government on that bit. But government needs to do more.
Yeah, government needs to do more, and persons with disability also have to take up the fight for themselves. Nobody can fight your cause better than yourself. And so we will want to take a break and then come back Let's talk
ability.
and do more talking on the Let's Talk ability. Don't go away, and you at home, show some love.
I'm a winner, not a loser.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Dadam paibo. Nenyame obeshira ye nyina. Joshua. Fire kwe.
No ade fofo bi. Awon bi da. Unti bi da.
There.
Minim se wani je ho. So poem pa.
Poem. Aye.
Ope poem pa. Okay.
Me a student of literature. Me need the poetry.
Okay. All right. And then my chow surprise be.
All right.
Farid.
The title of my poem is The Eyes That See. Do you not see all around you the beautiful ingenuity of God Almighty? Do you not see all around you the brilliance and excellence that characterize our individual existence? Each one of us, uniquely and specially created by the grand creator of all creations. What you can do, I can never dream of. And what I can do would remain a mystery to you. For as specially made creatures, our abilities are unique to our person. So do not shun me just because I cannot see. For just like you, I am human with unique human abilities. And everywhere you go, every human being has challenges. So draw closer and hold my hand. Get to know me and let me know you too. So together we can integrate under the flame of inclusion. I am not perfect and neither are you. After all, who is blind if you cannot see the pain in others? Who is deaf if you cannot hear the cries of your neighbors? And who is crippled if you can't stand to fight societal indifference against persons with disability? Well, you see, no one is exactly perfect. So at least give me the opportunity to also express my God-given talents. I don't need eyes to create my vision. I don't need ears to hear my calling. Neither do I need limbs to chase my dreams. But all I truly need is for you to stop discriminating and see me as your brethren. For the eyes that see are not eyes that merely express sight, but eyes that possess a strong insight. Thank you.
I am more than a conqueror. I'm a winner, not a loser. Overcomer. Hey. I am more than a conqueror. I swear it. I swear it. I swear that weapon formed against me. I'm a winner, not a loser. Overcomer.
Show some love, respect.
Respect.